There are no better credentialed European runners in next Sunday's Tooheys 1000 than BMW factory drivers Joachim Winkelhock and Steve Soper. They have dominated the British small car formula this year, and while Soper is no stranger to Bathurst, Joachim is preparing for his first bout of mountain mania.
Our team manager Charlie told me this is one of the biggest touring car races in the world, and they are for sure the best drivers there, and I'm very happy to come to Australia.
Certainly one of the most difficult circuits in the world for a touring car. How difficult it is, I suppose, if you've never been there before, it's a shock to the system. I think this is my third or fourth time there, but it's a tricky circuit, but it's one that's also satisfying to drivers. You get a lot of satisfaction when you get it right, and also it's enjoyable to drive around.
Ford, meanwhile, is Bathurst bound with the championship car of 1993. Glenn Seaton, Alan Jones, Dick Johnson and John Bowe have a season of development under their belts. But on Wednesday night, the Melbourne Glitterati converged on Alan Moffat's race shop in Toorak to catch a glimpse of his new Tooheys Challenger. The Synovus Vitamins Falcon EB is without doubt the most striking of the Moffat machines to be prepped for a Bathurst assault. It has taken 5 months of superb engineering to have the car ready for the starting blocks, and the great race winner has kept his operation deliberately low-key.
Never been a believer in doing a lot of chest beating about something you haven't got, and quite honestly, until we were able to put the invitations out and invite people to this launch, we didn't have anything to talk about. It's taken us 5 months to produce it, and we've needed every one of those days. So as we went through the exercise, there was no point in advertising where we were or where we were not.
The Synovus Falcon boasts a race-ready engine handcrafted by the Holman and Moody headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. And unlike other Ford teams, Moffat has opted for carburation rather than fuel injection.
It isn't totally untested. Every part that has gone on it is state-of-the-art, is the given that we know in today's terms. The only thing it hasn't done is actually just turn the wheels, but each thing in its own way is ready to go. So all we've done is put them all together.
An incredibly successful year. As you'd be aware that Britain went to 2 litre because probably that was the way to go for Britain. They drive small cars, petrol is very, very expensive. And in Australia, of course, there's always been that fondness of the V8 era. It's back. The crowds have been sensational during this year. It's taken quite a lot of knocking because people wanted us to go the European 2 litre. At the moment, there's no comparison between Australian 2 litre and the British 2 litre. I think as far as the fans are concerned, they're delighted. I mean, if the grandstands are packed all the way around Australia, you've got to be doing something right.
Yeah. Mike, is the Sandown 500 in any way a guide or perhaps an omen?
I think it used to be. It was very hard this year, of course, with Jeff Brabham winning the event. There were quite a few that had a chance early, but there's a couple of things probably to be read into the Sandown. First of all, the Winfield team didn't run, and nor did the BMW team. And I still believe, despite all the hype about the V8s and BMW playing it close to their chest, I think the BMWs are the favourites for this race.
You think they are the favourites? Was my next question. You'd opt for the BMWs?
Well, I just think it will need one of the Holdens or one of the Fords to run perfectly all day long. They'll certainly punish them. But the BMW is designed for this race. It's an endurance car. It's the swan song of the car. You have the very best drivers in Britain from the British Touring Car Championship. Joachim Winkelhock and Steve Soper.
I'm glad you're calling that, by the way.
Yes, we wouldn't want to mix that one up. And the thing is that the cars have been specially put together. They didn't run at Sandown simply, you've had all the publicity, they didn't run at Sandown because they didn't want to show their hand.
What about Brocky, Mike? I mean, by his standards, he's had an average year. Can he turn it round?
Well, I think Peter's best came at the end of the Touring Car Championship. You know, he was absolutely superb at the grand final day at Oran Park. You know, it's marvellous about sporting icons in this country. Brock has been filling up the field, so to speak, this season. The day he struck form at Oran Park, he won the dash, he won one of the heats, finished second overall in the day. There are almost people crying, the cheers for just Brock walking onto the stage. He's in a very, very strong position because he'll attack this conservatively, this race, and he has a very strong co-driver in the Scotsman John Cleland.
you've already stated you're a rep for the BMWs. What about a Smoky? Could a privateer come out and win it?
Oh, yes. Yes, this is quite a different race. A lot of the guys went into sprint mode for Sandown and paid the penalty. You know, I know we work very closely with the guy. Neil Crompton had, I believe, the fastest Commodore at Sandown. He's driving superbly, and I think he'll be in the top 5 at Bathurst. And I know Alan Moffat said, you know, that every part he's put in the car is brand new. The only thing they haven't done is turn a wheel. Well, they're out testing today, and I think anyone that plays a conservative game at Bathurst and doesn't get mixed up in that mad scramble for the first hour and hangs around all day, a privateer could win it.
Mike, stay with us. We'll talk to you again in just a moment. But first up, let's give you the exact times and dates, of course, of what's going to be a monster weekend from the mountain. And all the action is coming your way on 7. It's live next Sunday, starting at 8 in the morning and going through until 6 in the evening Eastern Time. Tremendous action, and you'll see it, of course, only on 7.